Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Hooty Hoo KSU football podcast. My name is Griffin Nichols. I'm the host. Got a W. Gotta love it. Gotta love the wins because there are a lot of wins in this program, so don't sleep on the wins. We have to celebrate the wins for sure. If we're going to be critical of the losses, we need to be celebratory of the wins for sure. I'm going vertical instead of horizontal. I don't know if you can tell. You may be able to tell because I can actually look directly in the camera instead of looking off to the side. So listen, we're growing. We're growing our presentation. So enjoy the eye contact because I'm going to make a lot of eye contact. I just, what do I think? What I think is that I'll take a win any way we can get it. I think we need to look at this game a little bit, figure out, the positives, the places where we can grow going into next week against Arkansas State. I'll do a program, again, previewing the Arkansas State game, who had a tight one yesterday against Iowa State. So they played really well. So that's going to be a game for sure. It's at home. It's already been sold out. And by the way, thank you to the fans that were out at the Nest last night. Great job. I mean, great energy, sellout. Love to see it. Love to see the fans getting behind this football program and what they're trying to build here at Kennesaw State. So couldn't be more excited about that. So let's get into the game. It's definitely a game of two halves. And I think as a fan as well, you're kind of sitting there in the first half being like, what is going on exactly? And in the second half, I think you're excited. And then there's some frustration in there as well by making it closer than it needed to be. But hats off to the defense. Defense played great. That's all I can say. I mean, probably the ends could use some work a little bit, but honestly, I don't really have many complaints when your defense gives up 7 points. The score was 27-13. One of those scores is a pick six. So just want to kind of put that out there. Couldn't be happier with how the defense played. And let's just keep that energy going as we move forward in next week against Arkansas State. Elephant in the room is going to be quarterbacks. It's definitely frustrating. I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but I said last week that I don't know of a true quarterback system that has been really successful. There was a time when the University of Florida had Chris Leak. He was more of a passer, and Tim Tebow, I think his freshman year, they used him as a runner occasionally, which they did win the national title that year. So there's that. But Leak was the forgotten man. Everybody gives Tebow a lot of credit for the Gators' success, but Chris Leak was a solid college quarterback. So that's not exactly what we have here at Kennesaw State, not only from a talent point of view, but just from a split point of view. So let's talk about the first quarter. First quarter, Kennesaw State gets the ball one time. They get it one time on offense. They go 3 and out. Odom is the starter. And I said to kind of pay attention to that, who's starting the game, how many series, etc. Mack, based on their offense, controlled the ball most of the first quarter, and that's why there was only one possession by Kennesaw State in the first quarter. So, but they didn't score. So that's important to note. Again, going back to the defense. We go into the second quarter. First drive for Kennesaw State. Again, Odom as the quarterback, 3 and out. Defense stops Mack. Kennesaw State gets the ball. Williams comes in on the second drive. He leads the team down and scores a rushing touchdown. 7-0 Kennesaw State, which is great. That is terrific. So get the ball back a third time in the second quarter. Again, the score is 7-0. Driving down the field to end the half. We get down to the 31-yard line, and at that moment in time when the clock is stopped, there's 18 seconds. Okay, so you're at Mack's 31 with 18 seconds to go. So everybody who is not a football expert would simply say, going for a field goal. That's the goal here, is you're at the 31, 18 seconds, 10 more yards. You've got a chance of the field goal. You got a chance to be 10-0 going in at the half. So incomplete pass is followed up on 1st and 10 with 31 seconds yet. Incomplete pass It takes 8 seconds off the clock, so held on the ball a little longer than we should have. You got 10 seconds left in the game. Then Williams completes the pass, I believe, around the 6-yard line. Time expires. No time to kick a field goal. So that's just poor clock management. It's just poor clock management. Should never happened. Kind of going for a touchdown instead of being smart and going for the field goal. Kind of paying attention to where you were, going for too much, and that's just not being aware. I mean, that's on the quarterback. It's also on the coaches. You can't hold the ball for that long if you've got 18 seconds. You've got to know what you're looking at. How many timeouts do you have? It's less than 2 minutes, therefore you can run out of bounds. I mean, a lot of different things. First downs, reset the chains, all that stuff. So just kind of disappointed with that, and that's just sloppy. A lot of penalties, and that's something that I need to talk about as well. A lot of penalties in the first half, holding, false starts, shifts. I mean, just a ton of penalties. I think 13 penalties overall in the game. So the penalties have got to be fixed. And Coach Mack in his press conference afterwards even said the same thing, that the penalties are killing them. I mean, they're killing them. They're drive killers. They stop the momentum. You can't get on schedule. He said that they were a little lackadaisical yesterday. And I agree with that. Hold on one second for me. I'm going to go ahead and make this move as well. Since I was so excited to talk about the win that I forgot to put my AirPods in so you can hear me a little bit better. Too many penalties, and that really impacted that whole first half of the game. Lackadaisical, who knows? Yes, I mean, they were lackadaisical. Why? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Obviously, if it was that easy of an answer, the coach would be like, this is the exact reason. But what can we project? What can we give an opinion on? If you're lackadaisical, I think that the reason being is that you are a human being. These players are human beings. They're looking at the film of Jerry Mack, and they see a team that they are superior to, that Kennesaw State's superior to. You can tell that by the athletes. You've been watching film the 2 weeks prior and further into the summer with these larger programs like Wake Forest, like Indiana, and you can clearly see what jumps off the page to you regarding speed, talent, size. So you know what you're preparing for, and you've been preparing for these more challenging games, and now you're coming against a team that is less than. Also, team coming off of 2 losses. So where's the confidence level? So there's a lot of things that go into the mentality of players of being ready for the game. But this feels like a first half where the players just weren't completely bought in like you saw against a Wake Forest or even the first half against Indiana. This seemed like a team that was kind of going through the motions, and they expected that to be enough to beat this Jerry Mack College. It wouldn't have been, and it wasn't, and the first half showed that. We go into the third quarter. And I'm sure that there's a certain amount of drives that they want the players to have, but after the way the first half ended with Williams, going back to Odom is the right call. Because, again, you can't take points off the board, and that's exactly what happened. So Odom comes out, he starts the second drive of the second drive of the third quarter, touchdown pass from Odom, good looking. The next drive, Odom runs, pretty athletic too, an athletic run for another touchdown. We're at 21-0. So Odom is on fire. So we're looking at another drive. Then after that, we get a field goal to wrap up that quarter. Again, that's an Odom drive. It is now it's 24-0, Kennesaw State. That's the end of the third quarter. Whatever adjustments were made in the halftime locker room worked coming into the third quarter. Okay, so now we have a scenario where a team is up 24-0. They believe that they are a superior team, which clearly they are. So if you are at a school, and this is really kind of getting into their heads and the psychology of it, if you're at Kennesaw State, how often are you used to winning? How often are you used to playing with leads? And the answer is not very often. 2 wins, now 3 wins with 3 seasons. This is the third season. So 3 wins over that period of time. If you're not used to winning, there is a concept to where you don't know how to put teams away. You have to learn how to put teams away and not let off. And that is the next step for a winning culture and a winning program. Put teams away. Play clean, put them away, run the ball with effort, and go home with a win. So, fourth quarter. Jerry Mack drives down the field. 10-play drive. They score a touchdown. Scores 24-7. Okay. Again, we're not worried. We're just going to run the ball, eat up some clock. We're going to call this a day. Williams comes in, throws a pick six. Throws a pick six when he comes in the game. And again, we are continuing the decision-making coming out of the second quarter going into the third or the second half of the fourth quarter when he finally comes in. And just poor decision-making, forcing balls. It just isn't necessary. It's not that kind of game. You're not behind. You're playing with the lead. Call the plays, be conservative enough to use your running backs, to use your tempo, because by this time, based on this offensive philosophy, we should have worn down their defense because we're going with tempo. In doing so, that should be a wrap. But instead, we're throwing the ball. We throw a pick six, bad pass. And now all of a sudden, we're at a 24-13 game, and a team believes because they just had a 10-play touchdown drive followed up by a pick six, now they have life. Now, as a team that isn't used to winning, what do? Do you start to lack confidence? Do you start to implode? Do you start to press too much and do mistakes happen? So that's kind of the scenario we're looking at right there. After the pick six, Odom comes in. Williams goes back on the bench and drives us down the field, kick a field goal to make it 27-13. So nice to have our field goal kicker coming back in, Britton Williams. He's the kicker from the first game against Wake Forest that had such a tough time. Our other kicker, Kenny, I believe that's right. He is out injured, so he wasn't part of this game. He was ruled out prior to the game starting. So good to have Britton come in and kick that field goal to make it 27-13. And again, after this, the game is pretty much a wrap. Eating up clock. Their offense, Miramax College's offense, is not one that is going to be able to score quickly. They're more of a ground and pound kind of offense. So just looking at the quarterbacks, here are our lines. Odom was 12 of 14 for 108 yards passing, 1 touchdown passing. Ran the ball 6 times for 22 yards and also has a rushing touchdown. Williams, 9 of 17 passing for 88 yards with 1 interception through the air. On the ground, 6 rushes for 42 yards and 1 touchdown. Just real fast, I also want to give credit to wide receivers Moss and Binyard. Moss had 6 catches for 68 yards. Binyard had 5 for 54 with a touchdown. So good performance from them on limited opportunities. Running backs were evenly split. Diggs did better running the ball, where Bennett did better receiving the ball. So they're both good. I like them a lot. I think we're fine with our running backs, both their ability to catch the ball in the backfield, but also to run the ball. But going back to the quarterback situation, again, if you imagine, just in your daily life, if you're doing a task, you're removed from that task for an hour and then asked to go back to that task. Do you do it as well as you did when you were first engaged? Probably not. If you're doing something, if you're doing your craft and you're good at your craft and you're in that zone to where you're completely focused on what it is that you are accomplishing in any industry, you don't want that to be broken. You want to keep going because you're kind of in that place mentally. The same is true with any position in football, but especially quarterbacks. So much to process. So much based on rhythm. Getting in a rhythm of operating an offense, of handing the ball off, of passing the ball. There's so much to that with the rhythm of the game, to where I think if you're looking at it statistically, you spent money to bring Dexter Williams in because of what he could be. But Odom so far has been the better option, especially throwing the ball. Williams, with his dual threat ability to run the ball, if you're going to do like a spread option attack where the running quarterback is a key component to that attack, teams like Florida State right now underneath Gus Malzahn. I'm trying to think of another one. I watched Arizona the other night, and that was an offense that's very much based on that as well. UNLV underneath Dan Mullen. These are all offenses that are based on quarterbacks running the ball. So if you're going to run that offense, Williams is your better option. However, if you want an option that you're going to also air it out, well, you've got to have a quarterback who can give you both, which is very difficult to find. It's very difficult to have a quarterback that can run the ball and throw the ball with accuracy. And Kennesaw State doesn't have that right now. But Odom does give you enough with his legs to where you can use that as a threat. You just won't use it all the time. A lot of times with the read options, you're going to need the quarterback to pull it a few times to show that he is capable of running with it. And the majority of the time, just run the ball with your running backs. That's usually the way that you show that that is a possibility with your offense. And in that scenario where you're running the quarterback, again, I think Williams is the right choice, right? But it seems like we're throwing the ball a good bit. And if we're going to throw the ball that often, just looking at the stats, there are 31 passing attempts. So if we're going to throw the ball 31 times, let's put it with a quarterback that can throw the ball more accurately. Again, Odom was 12 of 14. That's pretty darn good with what you're asking him to do. So give him those 31 passes. How many does he connect on? 25? That's incredible. That's enough right there. So I don't know what's going on. They said that they're going to go back and review the film to make a decision for this upcoming week against Arkansas State. I think that you have to do whatever it takes to put your team in the best position to win. So if you want to use Williams as a running option, but the problem with that is that it kind of gives the defense a tell of what's coming, and that's where it becomes difficult to do that kind of an offensive philosophy. You've got to be able to show that the quarterback's capable of both, so they can't put a defense based around a quarterback keeping the ball. I think Odom is your best option. I think that from what I've seen, and I know it's only been 2 games that he's been playing in, but he seems like a more complete quarterback than what I've seen with the throwing of Dexter Williams. I noticed it in the Wake Forest game that when the team really needed it to drive down the field to win the game, there was a couple one-hoppers in the ground, some poor decision-making. And again, we had poor decision-making with clock management yesterday at the end of the half. So that's what I would say. That's just what do I know? I'm not a coach. I don't get paid to be a coach. It's just my take on it, which I'm allowed to have an opinion, and that's my opinion. Disagree, agree, whatever you want, that's your opinion, and that's okay. That's the great thing about the world that we live in, is that we can just disagree, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why they're called opinions. So, and I feel like my tone has kind of gone down in excitement. And I don't mean it to be, because I am excited. I'm very excited that the crowd showed up. The crowd got what they paid for. They had a good product on the field, and they got something to cheer behind. They're going to need you. They're going to need us again for Arkansas State, for sure, to make that place a challenging environment to play in, to make some noise, and let them know that you're just not going to walk in here and guarantee a win, that this team is different. Conference play starts this week. Conferences are the most important aspect. That's one win. 5 to go. Okay? 5 to go to become bowl eligible. That's been the goal all season long. And so as we're starting to look at this schedule, there's going to be opportunities along the way to where you can get those wins. Now, it's going to take effort. It's going to take some consistency, but I don't think swapping in and out of quarterbacks to create an inconsistent offense from the scoring point of view is the way forward. I think you have to make a decision and go forward with that decision. The defense couldn't be happier. So keep playing hard, keep hitting, and we're going to be just fine on defense. So that's all I got for the reaction. Again, I'm very happy. I thought that we played well. Need to clean up those penalties. Play a clean game. Keep your head in the game. Be excited to be for people to be so behind this team. And let's not sleepwalk. Let's get off to a fast start next week against Arkansas State. And those Owls out there who are listening, please bring that passion to the game next week, and let's get that win. Let's get a second win on the season against Arkansas State. Should be a battle I'm really looking forward to see how much this team has grown. There is nothing that this team is going to see that they haven't seen more of or a better version of because of their experience on the road against Wake Forest and Indiana. There isn't. There isn't a team on this schedule who is better than Indiana for sure. So I just want to put that out there. Y'all like and subscribe, support the show through the Etsy store, t-shirts, bumper stickers, anything else, hats, whatever you like. Everything that we earn goes right back to the program. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you like this presentation up and down. I know that I'm a little twitchy sometimes and messing with my hat or my face. I'm trying to do better on that, but I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll be back on Thursday to preview the Arkansas State game. All right, y'all. Have a good week.